The New York Islanders split their weekend games in Florida, but we'll tell you why the good far outweighed the bad. That's coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And thank you for helping to make Locked On the #1 sports podcasting network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for over 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey. Lots to discuss after a busy weekend where the Islanders traveled to Florida. We'll break down the key takeaways from the loss to the Panthers and the win over the Lightning. We'll have our hero and GOAT of the game. And, of course, we will tell you why the good far outweighed the bad in this game and an important injury update for the Islanders. Let's start with the loss on Sunday to the Florida Panthers. Final score 4-1. This was not a terrible loss, although obviously there are things they could have done better in this game. Let's start with the goaltending. David Rittich was fine. Rittich stopped 26 out of 29 shots. The last goal was an empty netter, so that does not end up counting against Rittich's record. And again, for most of the game, unfortunately, the Florida Panthers looked like the better team. And the Islanders had some real opportunities, but not enough of them. You have to understand the biggest problem that the Islanders had. And that is this. You enter the third period. You're being outplayed for the most part, but you're still in the game. You are down 2-1. And you have a chance, if you can score just one goal, to at least earn a point in this game and end up being ahead, getting at least a 3-point weekend out of these 2 games. What ends up happening in the entire third period? The New York Islanders registered a grand total of, drumroll please, 2 shots on goal. You are not going to win a lot of games. You are not going to get the equalizer. I don't care, whether it's Sergei Bobrovsky or Tarasov in goal. In this case, it was obviously Tarasov. But if you only get 2 shots on goal, down 1 goal on the road, you're not tying that many games. And look, first off, credit to the Florida Panthers. Yeah, they're struggling with injuries, but they are the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions for a reason. And they really shut the Islanders down. And throughout the game, the biggest issue in my mind, look at the only goal the Islanders scored. Matthew Barzal on a backhander. Nice pass by Schaefer to set it up. Anders Lee was in front of the net, basically making a little trouble for Tarasov. And that was a big difference maker. Look at the first goal by the Panthers. It was the same thing. There was a player screening Rittich on that goal. The Islanders, right now, still no JG Pageau in the lineup. Still, obviously, not going to have Kyle Palmieri for the rest of the season. You still, as of right now, do not have Jonathan Drouin in the lineup. You've got to go to the net and get those dirty goals. This is the National Hockey League. Yeah, you're facing a backup goalie. But you know what? When you're facing a backup goalie, you still got to do the right thing. And for this team right now, and we've seen them win by doing this, you've got to go to the net. You've got to screen the goalie. You've got to get deflections, rebounds, tips. You have got to make life difficult for the opposition. And in this game, the New York Islanders flat out, plain and simple, did not do that. And it just isn't going to work when that happens. This team needs to go to the net much more often than they're doing. And, Anders Lee did not figure into the scoring on that goal. Schaefer and Polak got the assists. But Anders Lee was equally as responsible for that goal because of what he was doing in front of the net than the guy who took the shot, Matthew Barzal. More players on this team need to do that. You need to go to the net. You need to fight. You need to win 50-50 puck battles. And the fact that this team, especially going up against a big, strong Florida Panthers team who is skilled but can also dig you in the corners until, you surrender. They are big. They go to the net. That's how they win. The Islanders have to go to the net more. You cannot hang back on the perimeter and hope that you're going to score often enough to win. The bottom line is, over the weekend, the Islanders scored a grand total of 2 goals against a goalie in their 2 games. They were fortunate enough to win one of them. But it is not going to work enough unless your goalie plays lights out. You're not going to win very many games if you don't go to the net, because in the NHL, if a goalie sees the puck, 95% of the time, maybe more, he's going to stop the puck. This team needs to just be more physical. And it doesn't even have to be battling, bashing body checks. Go to the net, fight for position, and win it. And that was the biggest shortcoming of this game. In the third period, maybe this team ran out of gas. I don't know, but they've got to be better. They have got to be better under these circumstances, and they just weren't. Now, one thing I have noticed, that the fourth line for the New York Islanders playing better since Mark Gatcomb re-entered the lineup. They're being more aggressive. Gatcomb had 5 hits in this game, tied with Emil Heineman for the most on the team. The difference is Gatcomb playing, 3 minutes less than Heineman. You've got to get a little more physical. You got to win those 50-50 puck battles, and they're just not doing enough of it. Ultimately, it cost them this game. And don't even get me started on the Islanders' power play. Again, you get into the third period, you're down 2-1. You get chances on the power play, you've got to take advantage of them. And, they only had one chance in this game on the power play. But you got to do more than what this team was able to do. The power play was non-existent. So, overall, just a disappointing performance. But again, going up against the defending Stanley Cup champions on the road on a back-to-back, it wasn't a dreadful performance. They were in this game in spite of themselves. Hero of the game, I'm going with Matthew Barzal. Goat of the game, there's a bunch of candidates. I'm going to go off the board. And, maybe a little bit of a surprise here. Only one Islander in this game was -3, and that was Bo Horvat. I am going to give Bo, who is usually one of my finalists, if not my hero of the game, I'm going to give Bo the GOAT of the game for this one, as someone who was -3. And, by the way, Travis Mitchell out there, he and Scott Mayfield both -2. 4 penalty minutes for Mitchell. He doesn't look great out there. I'm rooting for the kid. I like him, but he did not seem to be on top of his game at the moment that this was going on. He just seemed a little overwhelmed at times. Had a couple of hits, give him credit for that. And again, getting back to physicality, the Islanders' 6 defensemen had a grand total of 3 hits in this game. 3. 2 by Mitchell, 1 by Mayfield. Pelech, Polak, D'Angelo, Schaefer, 0 hits. 0. Can't do that. Can't play that way. Again, I don't need this team to goon it up. But you're going up against a bigger, stronger team. You've got to at least play physically and stand up for yourself, and they just didn't do enough of it. We have got more to get to on today's show. A big win over the Lightning on Saturday. We'll break that down, have our key takeaways, and our hero and go to the game, and a tough one here for our Islanders' birthday of the day. An Edmonton native who went to the University of Minnesota State Mankato and who played briefly with the Islanders in 2014, 2015. Let's see if you can guess who this hard-to-spell winger is. All that coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you could track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The Seat View feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets at every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already love your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayers Club today and get Locked On Islanders with no interruptions, members only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. So head on over to lockedonislanders.supercast.com. And, that is where you have to go. Check the link in the show notes to learn more. And thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen. If you're a true diehard Islanders fan, and every day or all access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access special episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Again, head over to lockedonislanders.supercast.com to join the Everydayer program and unlock all access. You could also find the link in the show notes. Saturday's game against Tampa Bay was outstanding. It was one of those games that just gives you confidence in this team. And again, inconsistency is still an issue here. This team is up and down. But the biggest reason the Islanders won this game, 32 saves for Ilya Sorokin, a shutout. Islanders win 2-0. And let's face it, especially when you're missing three key players in Drouin, Pageau, Palmieri, and add Romanov on defense. So 4 key players. But when you're missing these guys and offense is at a premium, having your goalie step up and play as well as Ilya Sorokin played is absolutely huge. And Ilya Sorokin, since the change in goaltender coaches, has really been on a roll. And part of it is that the team is indeed playing a little better in front of him. But the other part of it is that the Islanders Sorokin is anticipating better. He is coming up with big saves when the Islanders defense gives up a quality scoring opportunity. Sorokin was there. And when you're outshot 32-19 in a game and you win it 2-0, the goalie is largely responsible. And with the shutout, that gives Sorokin 25 career shutouts with the Islanders, tying him with Glenn Chico Resch for the Islanders' all-time shutout lead. So congratulations to Ilya Sorokin. Chico Resch, an all-time great Islander, belongs in the New York Islanders Hall of Fame. Don't know why Chico isn't in it at this point. Should be the next guy in next year. But Ilya Sorokin, outstanding in this game, a real difference maker. And how about the only goal scored on a goalie in this game by the Islanders? Cal Ritchie scoring from behind the goal, banking it in off the back of the goalie with a pretty move on his backhand. And I had to watch the replay more than once just to figure out how he did it. What a great move by Cal Ritchie. So outstanding. And then kudos to Casey Cizikas for scoring empty net goals in back-to-back games. Memo to Casey. Show your teammates how it's done. Teach them if you have to. Casey seems to be the only guy on this Islanders team who can put the puck in the net when the other team pulls their goalie. Way to go, Casey. So, hero of the game, yeah, I could go Cal Ritchie with that beautiful goal. But it's got to be Ilya Sorokin with the shutout. And go to the game is tough when you have a shutout win. It's difficult. But to me, in this case, I don't have a GOAT. I really do not have a GOAT of the game in this one. But I will say again, in this game, the fourth line, Cizikas, Gatcomb, and McLean played really, really well. And the addition of Mark Gatcomb has really revitalized Casey Cizikas, as did apparently a little talk that Patrick Waugh had with Cizikas. And it's certainly revitalized McLean a little bit. Both Cizikas and McLean were playing really bad hockey, like almost to the point of if they didn't make bad plays, you wouldn't know they were in the lineup at all. After a game, you would say, "Oh, did McLean play in this game?" Maybe, I don't know, that kind of a thing. So to me, all of a sudden, when Gatcomb comes in the lineup, you have Gatcomb, Cizikas, and McLean. What do you have? You have three guys on the fourth line who play a fourth line style, number one, who play a similar style, number two, and who bring out the best in each other, number three. So while Mark Gatcomb is not a game breaker in the sense of, yeah, he's going to score 25 goals and, be lights out, and you look at the box score and you're like, wow, what a great game by Mark Gatcomb. But if you watch the game and see what he does to impact the players around him, he definitely has helped Casey Cizikas and Kyle McLean to play better. And that is something this team needed badly, because both of them, as I said, were struggling in a big, big way. So I like this fourth line. They played well together, and the Islanders just did a good job of, beating Tampa Bay twice in what, a week and a half? Pretty impressive considering how hot the Lightning were. And I love this win and what it says about what this team is capable of. And, this team is better than they were a year ago. Now they need to be more consistently better. Play up to their potential more nights than they don't. That's the next step from being a pretty good team to being a really good team, and then to being an elite cup contender, which is still a couple of steps away. But I'm pleased with the progress of this team, and overall, they are doing what they need to do to stay in games. We have got more to get to, a big injury update on JG Pageau. We've got that, and plus our Islanders birthday of the day coming up next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Injury update on JG Pageau. As we mentioned on Friday's show, everydayers may recall, he was skating with the team, but wearing the non-contact jersey. Well, over the weekend, that non-contact jersey came off. So while Pageau did not play in either of this weekend's games, he now is closer, at least, to a return to the Islanders lineup. And when the Islanders get back on the ice Tuesday, it would not surprise me at all to see JG Pageau on the ice. So he was out there Saturday morning on the morning skate. Looks to be ahead of schedule. Matthew Darche told the media, we said week to week, but he's day to day. He's very close. There's still a chance for tomorrow, but we'll see. That was on Saturday. He did not come back on Sunday. But let's see what happens now. Jonathan Drouin did not make the trip down to South Florida. So, we knew he wasn't going to play in either of this weekend's games. So be it. Hopefully he also will be on the mend and be back on the ice. Let's just say sooner rather than later. Also, an emotional moment for Matthew Darche, who got a big thank you on the video board in Tampa on Saturday. Had to be, an important moment. And credit to the Lightning. Classy move there. And for Matthew Darche to beat his former team, that just had to be a great feeling. And, getting revenge in the playoffs eventually would be even better. But winning 2 games out of 2, got to feel good for Matthew Darche so far. And congratulations to him as he made his return to Tampa. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And we're a day early here, but Tuesday will be the 38th birthday of former Islanders winger Gil Martin. The Edmonton native, 6 feet, 188 pounds, undrafted, 4 years at Minnesota State at Mankato, and then bounced around the minor leagues, made his NHL debut in 2014-2015 with the Islanders, played in 6 games, had a goal and an assist and 8 penalty minutes, and later played for the Penguins for 1 game, and then went on to finish his career in Europe, finished his career in Germany, and hung up his skates after the 2022-2023 season. This is a hard one. A guy who only played a grand total of 7 NHL games, 6 of them with the Islanders. His best game as an Islander is easy. February 24th, 2015, Islanders hosting the Arizona Coyotes at the Nassau Coliseum. Mike Smith, the goalie for the Yotes. Chad Johnson is the goalie for the Islanders. And after 2 periods, the game was tied 1-1. But in the third, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Gil Martin, sets up Matt Martin for his 8th goal of the year, and Nikolai Kulemin with the other assists. That gives the Islanders a 2-1 lead, with the Islanders up 3-1. Martin scores his first and only career NHL goal. Colin McDonald and Nikolai Kulemin with the assists. Brock Nelson adds a goal less than 2 minutes later, and the Islanders beat the Coyotes by a score of 5-1. For our Islanders' birthday of the day, Gil Martin, a goal, an assist. He was a +2. He scored on his only shot on goal, and he was on the ice for 10 minutes and 42 seconds. But essentially in this game, and he only played 7 in the NHL, he had both his only goal and his only assist. So Gil Martin, one of the harder to spell names in Islanders history, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Thank you for tuning in today to Locked On Islanders. We will be back tomorrow so that we will have a preview of the Islanders game on Tuesday night against the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll also have the latest injury updates and more. Right now, don't forget, you can find Locked On Islanders on social media. You can find us on X at Locked On Isles. You can find me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. We'll keep you up to date with all things Islanders all year long. And always great to talk a little Islanders hockey with you. Game time or anytime, I am live tweeting during every Islanders game. Did Locked On Islanders make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media. To secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club, just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayers Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NHL game night. It's on the Locked On NHL feed. So until tomorrow, when we are back, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.